If you want efficiency, practicality, good driving dynamics, then this 2018 Toyota Camry XLE Hybrid might be exactly what you're looking for. Thank you, Toyota, for sending this to me today to review for you guys. I've had this for a week and there's a lot to talk about. We're gonna go over everything that's new, the exterior, the interior, and then go for a test drive. Let's get started. Thank you everybody so much for tuning in for this 2018 Toyota Camry XLE Hybrid review. So starting out, all 2018 Camrys are standard with Toyota Safety Sense Plus. That's their safety system. One way to tell the difference between the Camry models, the L's and the S's have different looks. So with this XLE, we have a bright metallic grille. You will get a darker grille that looks just like that on the LE. The SE will get a black mesh that, in my opinion, looks better. One way to tell that it's a hybrid is if there's blue in that Toyota symbol right there. All Camrys come standard with LED daytime running lights and LED headlights, but we have the full LED high and low beams here. We also have the automatic high beams with our Toyota safety package. On top of that, we have a package for adaptive auto leveling headlights, and these do work quite well. They are quite bright at night and I have no complaints with them. This Camry comes with the wind chill pearl. It's a white, a little bit of a ivory color to it and a metallic. It looks pretty good. It's a premium color. So what do y'all think of the styling of this 2018 Camry? I prefer the SE levels, but this XLE still looks good. You still have the same lines. It's a lower looking vehicle, a little bit sleeker, more modern looking. The wheels on the Camry Hybrid will range from 16 to 18. We do have the 18-inch multi-spoke wheels right there. Those are on 235 with tires. You also do have a hybrid badge right there on the side of the car. So these mirrors are not power folding or dimming, but they do have the turn indicator, our blind spot monitor in them as well. And that is standard on the XLE trim. It does have a smart key system, which I will show you in a little bit. Some changes here with this Camry is it's on an all-new platform called Toyota New Global Architecture. That makes it 30% more rigid, and you can really tell when you're driving and when you're in the vehicle, it feels much more structurally sound. It also gives the overall car a lower center of gravity for better handling and dynamics. So all Camrys will have LED taillights. They will be combination taillights, but this XLE actually gives us full LED taillights, and they look pretty cool. They kind of have some LED bars running across, similar to what you see on some other vehicles. Again, with the Toyota logo, there is the blue in it, and Camry went with a different font right there for the Camry, and I think it looks pretty good. We do have the parking sensors back here and in the front as well. With this hybrid, we do get a single chrome tip. You'll get dual tip on the SE, but none of the hybrids come with the quad tip like you'll get on the gas models. What do you say we check it out? Now, getting into the trunk of the Camry, there's actually a little tab right over here. You push that and then you can open it up. As long as you have the smart key with you or close proximity to the trunk, this unveils 15.1 cubic feet, which actually is just a little bit smaller than last generation. Now, for the hybrid, this is bigger because the battery is no longer in the trunk or behind the back seat. It's actually under the back seat. So the hybrid is actually the same size as the gas models, but overall, the gas models actually lose a little tiny bit of space. Not much, but this is still a good layout. You do have a battery under there and our spare tire stuff under here. We do have some hooks on both sides and tabs that you can pull to fold down those seats in the 60-40 split. The one complaint is that it's not totally flat. There's actually a little bit of styrofoam underneath of that, but it's got a pretty decent opening and you can really fit a good amount in here. Toyota does offer the smart key system. Here's our key fob. It's pretty basic, but we do have Camry written on the back, and it even has the blue Toyota symbol showing you that you do have a hybrid. It does feel pretty good. It feels, you know, it's plasticky, but it feels solid nonetheless. So the way this works is if you have it with you, to lock it, you put your finger or thumb on those lines, or to unlock it, it senses your hand behind the door, then you can open it. and that goes for both driver and passenger sides. Plus, if you approach the vehicle at night, the interior will light up as you approach it. The front seats of the 2018 Toyota Camry are totally redesigned from last generation. Starting at the low LE model, you'll have fabric, 8-way power seats. The SE level gives you fabric inserts with soft text trim, which is a synthetic leather. And then in this XLE, we have full leather trimmed seats that are heated. They are not cooled, but they are 8-way power adjustable with lumbar support. The lumbar is only forward and backwards though, not up and down, which would be nice to see. There's also no memory seats available, which is something that's, I think, is an oversight from Toyota. I understand it's not trying to bump into the Avalon or the Lexus, but it would be nice to see considering the competitor Accord has it. But once we get into these seats, they are comfortable. I really do like the shaping of them. They kind of have like an insert for your butt and some pretty good soft edges around your thighs and your back. Now this XLE does not have the most aggressive bolstering, but there are a little bit of bolsters to it. When I sit up tall, I do have about a fist's room above my head, even though we have this sunroof here, and I'm 5'9". I fit comfortably. One thing is that it would be nice to have a softer material next to my right knee. If you rest your knee over there, it is a hard plastic, so something to consider. The steering wheel does have a good range of motion, both tilt and telescopically, and I've had no trouble getting it where I want it to be. Now that we've made it inside the Camry, you'll find a nice soft material on the door. The armrest is soft, plus we have all 4 automatic windows. One complaint is that this bottle holder situation down here is pretty small and skinny. My bottle doesn't fit in there, and it is actually kind of a smaller, more awkward position than it is the last generation Camry. When you shut the doors, they're actually really heavy. I'm surprised how heavy they are compared to last generation, and they don't sound quite as solid as I would hope. But everything is saved once we get inside of here. The materials are very nice. Trim pieces fit well. Definitely a better layout overall. Toyota's definitely getting a little bit more modern. So starting over here on the left real quick, we have automatic high beams on every trim, traction control, a perimeter scan, which I'll show you that on the screen later, trunk and fuel door opener, plus a little change drawer or little storage compartment. This part is hard plastic, but we do have soft here, leather wrapped wheel on the SE and XLE, plus nice stitching and soft material running up there. Even the dash is soft. The dash really surprised me. I actually put my sunglasses up here and drove around and they didn't even slide off. Let's get this thing started. As long as you have the key with you, push button start. And it doesn't actually make real noise unless the engine kicks on. It's just electric right away. And you can see that with the little EV button or up there. So let's start with this 7-inch screen. We have the 7-inch digital display up there, when typically on lower trims you'll have a 4.2-inch. But I do have the trip computer here. I got 42.3 miles per gallon in my time so far, over 162 miles, which is less than what it's supposed to get, but I haven't been driving the most eco-friendly. I literally just put it in eco mode earlier for a 4-mile trip and got 55 miles per gallon when I kind of babied it and milked it. But let me scroll through some of this. We have our driving support with the lane departure, cruise control. You can see all that on there when it's active. You can see your music. You can also see your energy monitor, which is kind of cool. You can see what's powering the car, tire pressure, and then our safety features right here. So pre-collision is standard on all models. Once we get to our blind spot monitor and our rear cross traffic alert, that's available on all models as well, but it's standard on this trim. And then we can customize all of our safety settings and things with this display here. And in fact, once we get over here, we do have a heads-up display, and let me show you that right now. This is a 10-inch color heads-up display, and you can actually display your tachometer or your energy system on there. It shows you your lane system, your lanes right there, the temperature if that's not showing up with the tachometer, and your speedometer. I do like it. It does work pretty well. It doesn't actually flicker like that. That's just like that because of the phone. When you're not looking at the digital display, you have analog on the left and on the right. Pretty clean display here. I do like that information display in the middle. On the steering wheel, like I said, it is leather wrapped. We do have our information buttons right here. You can back out of things. Voice controls for right here for making a call. Volume for your radio and your mode for your radio, plus changing songs or stations. This is our lane departure button here and the button to adjust the distance for your cruise control. and then your cruise control settings right there. No longer do you have the stock like the old Toyotas. The steering wheel is actually a little bit thicker than previous models, and I like it. It's very comfortable and it feels more supple than the old models did anyways. As we move over here, we do have even sleek vents running across the dash, following up with that trim piece going over there. Toyota actually gives us a CD player on these cars and real physical buttons. I definitely appreciate these physical buttons that we have because you can quickly go to whatever you need to. Now this is the Entune 3.0 system. Typically you'll get a 7-inch screen, but we have the 8-inch screen and the premium audio with the JBL system right here, plus some more apps. So our home screen shows right here. You can customize this. You can have like 4 different things showing. You can have 1 thing, 2 things, whatever you want. And you can even see your hybrid system and how it works right here while you're driving. So when we back out, let's say that I want to see some of the apps. You can pretty much control everything with your phone. I'm not a huge fan because we don't have Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, but there really still is a lot that you can do with it and things that you can customize as well. Now as we move down a little further, we do have our dual zone climate control functions, which are standard on all hybrid models. I do like the way this function and the way it feels. Everything works well. It's very simple. I've had no issues with the climate control so far. Going down a little bit further, we do have a USB and an auxiliary port there. Plus we have a 12-volt power outlet, a wireless charging pad, and we can actually push that out of the way to unveil another storage compartment right there. This is our gear selector for our 6-speed, or not, sorry, not 6-speed. This is for the CVT. It's an eCVT, but we can put it in drive and then move it over to S to downshift or upshift. And it's supposed to mimic a 6-speed quick shifting transmission. When we put it in reverse, I'll show you our backup cameras. We have a few different options. A regular backup camera with our perimeter view camera right here, or you can have just the backup camera, wide angle or narrow angle. And we do have dynamic guidance lines available on all cars, and they're standard on this one. Now to show you what that camera button does on the side, when I go to push that, that will give us our perimeter scan to go around the vehicle, which comes in handy in some tight quarters. Going back a little further, I'm a snob on cup holders and mine fits just fine. I do like this system right here. We even have an eco mode, which tries to keep you in electric as much as possible. Normal, kind of a balance between throttle and efficiency, and then sport for a little bit enhanced sportiness of the car. It's not super aggressive, but you can tell a difference. Not to mention a brake hold button, which does come in handy if you're stopped for a period of time. You don't have to put your foot on the brake. Automatic parking brake, which is actually automatic with, when you put it in park, it can actually engage if you want it to. And we also have EV mode, which will try to keep you pure electric until a certain amount of throttle or speed. Our heated seat buttons are right here. They're 3-tier, and they do work well. They're pretty quick heating, but when you're back at your driver's seat, this armrest just kind of covers that up a little bit, but that's just a small complaint. Speaking of this armrest, it is very wide, it's very long, and it is very soft. It's very comfortable. When we move it out of the way, we do have a pretty deep bin. It would be nice to see a 2-tiered system, but we do have 2 fast-charging USB ports in this XLE trim. Going over to the glove box underneath this nice soft dash, it's a little bit of a reach, and it's kind of tucked underneath of here, but it is lockable, it is soft opening, and it's a little smaller than I'd expect, but it works. And then when we go up, we do have visors that have sliding pieces, not the actual visor that slides. When you move that, you do get a nice bright light up above for your vanity mirror. And then we have an automatic dimming rear view mirror with our garage controls on there for the XLE trim. Plus, we have the optional sunroof. You can't get a panoramic sunroof, but you can have controls for your regular sunroof. Plus, our lights are nice, bright LED here and for the back seat. As we go to turn around for visibility, pretty much exactly what you would expect for a car. The pillars back there are pretty good size, but we do have rear cross traffic alert, blind spot, perimeter camera. You're all set. The back seat of this 2018 Toyota Camry XLE Hybrid is definitely spacious. The occupants do sit a little bit lower in the cab, both in the front and the back, and you can feel it. The whole vehicle is lower. Even though that's the case, I can still sit upright and put my fingers above my head, but it is pretty close. I do have really good knee room, good foot room, and this seat is even in its lowest position and I can still fit my feet. Altogether, this is definitely pretty comfortable. The middle passenger does have a hump, so they probably won't be able to fit an adult comfortably there. So to give you an idea of what it's like to be in the back seat, we do have the same soft touch materials on this door and kind of the same setup for a bottle holder down there. Now, as you can see, I do have really good knee space right here. I have that seat as low as it can go and my feet can still fit under here. But if the seat's a little bit higher, you do have more room for your feet. It is nice to see that we do have rear air vents. There is still a pretty good sized tunnel down here, so middle passengers will want to be a little shorter if they're going to sit here. But we do have a center folding armrest, but it does go all the way to the seat. It'd be nice if it would kind of stay up at arm level. But we do have 2 cup holders and it is soft. Overall, not a bad place to be in. At 5'9", I fit comfortably. The powertrain for this Toyota Hybrid is actually different than what you'll find in the base hybrid model. So the base hybrid model gets a lithium-ion battery. We still get the old nickel metal hydride battery. In fact, the LE Hybrid is the only one that gets the lithium-ion. So to make this system work, we have the 2.5 liter dynamic force 4-cylinder engine, plus we have an electric motor. So combine those two work together to give us 208 horsepower. And that is actually just a little bit more than you'll get on the regular 4-cylinder. So this is a little bit peppier and a little bit quicker than the regular 4-cylinder. This is paired with an electronically controlled CVT transmission that does work pretty good for being a CVT. You really won't find any problems with it at all. And the SE model actually will give you paddle shifters, and that's supposed to mimic a 6-speed transmission, a quick shifting 6-speed transmission. And ours actually has the gear selector that you can move over and you can shift your own gears, but it does work pretty well. So if you need to downshift or if you just want to have some fun, you can do that. So the big thing with hybrids is miles per gallon. If you have the base lithium-ion model, you'll get 51 in the city and 53 miles per gallon on the highway. Now, since we have the older nickel metal hydride battery underneath the back seat, we don't get those numbers. We get 44 in the city and 47 on the highway, which is still fairly respectable. All right, everybody, so we are off in the 2018 Toyota Camry XLE Hybrid on the test drive portion of this review. Now, if you've never driven a hybrid before, there's a few things that you need to know. It does seem a little bit different than a traditional gas vehicle. So in this one in particular, we have regenerative brakes. So when you brake, there's a little bit of a whine. It actually charges the battery. You do get a real brake feel after you depress it a little bit. Another thing is, depending on what mode you're in, particularly eco mode and normal mode, you will start out in EV mode basically. So it's going to try to keep you, or try to use as much electric part of the motor as possible. But the gas motor does kick in, so there's a little bit of a transition, and it's relatively seamless. You won't even really pay attention or notice it. So right now we're in EV mode. It's pretty sluggish. And then right there, it just kicked in the gas engine. And I can see the tachometer on the heads-up display, so I know exactly what the RPMs are for the gas engine. In normal mode, going 40. Let's see how the pickup is. That got us up to speed pretty quickly. This hybrid is a little bit faster than the regular gas 4-cylinder is. There's just a little bit more power. And the CVT works really well, actually. I'm impressed with how the CVT is. Now that we're up to a little bit of a higher speed, some things to note is that this car is a little bit quieter than last generation. It's supposed to be anyways. Toyota put more insulation. We do have an acoustic windshield, the laminated windshield. It'd be nice if these side windows were also quiet laminated windows. I do actually hear a little bit of wind noise coming in through the door frame up there. So that is one thing to knock. But overall, it's definitely a pretty quiet place. You can tell that they did a little bit of work to it, and I think the chassis, this new platform that they have, is a big part of that. The ride comfort in this car is definitely better than my 2017 SE. It dampens everything really well. You can go over some rough pavement and you can feel it, but it never really jars you in here. In fact, even though that's good, we do have good handling. Going around this turn, try to keep a decent speed here. This feels very planted to the road. And with that CVT, it puts you right at the RPM that you need. It's actually more fun than you would think, especially for a hybrid. It handles well. The ride comfort is very good. The SE models will give you a sport tune suspension, which is going to be a little bit more firm, a little bit stiffer, but I've driven the XSE and it was still more dampened than the previous generation, so definitely still improvement with that. One of the biggest things that I notice when I'm in here and driving is that Toyota said they lowered the center of gravity, and I can really feel that. It seems like more of a kind of a cockpit in here than the old generation. You still have good visibility. The only thing about that is the getting in the step-in height is just a little bit lower, so it might be a challenge for somebody that would have difficulty getting down and getting out. I have had a chance to use the full speed radar cruise control, and it's smoother than what I remember. I've done the Corolla, 2017 Corolla, and it works just fine, but it's a little bit jerky. This system does seem to be smoother than that, and it is full speed, so it's not going to cut out at like 32 miles an hour or whatever it is. The lane departure will cut out at about 32 miles an hour, but that works well too. It's not overly aggressive. It does kind of gently work you back into your lane, and it'll beep if you go onto the line, and you can adjust and customize those settings or even turn it off if you want to. I'm going to kind of hustle around these turns. There's not a real dramatic difference like some sport modes, but the throttle is a little bit more responsive. It's not gonna, especially at lower speeds, it's not gonna try to keep you in EV mode like it typically would. But it can be a pretty fun to drive car considering it's a hybrid and its goal is efficiency, but it's still a good thing to drive. Like I said earlier, the brakes do feel a little bit different. They take a little getting used to, but they're definitely still good brakes. We do have ventilated disc brakes in the front, solid disc brakes in the back, plus the regenerative brake portion that we have. One thing that I did have a problem with was it detects people when you're backing up, like the rear cross traffic alert, and there was a time when there was nobody. There's been a couple times where there's been nobody behind me, but it was telling me there was a person there. And I don't know why. It did it when I was at work every time I was leaving. One thing cool about this, even though it has a CVT, we do have the option to kind of shift our own gears. It mimics a quick shifting 6-speed. So you just move the gear selector into S, and right away I'm in 5th. Technically it's with the CVT, but it will mimic that. And I can downshift, and I can see on the tachometer to 6,000, upshift. Got it in 4th gear, and it's holding 4,000 RPMs. And when you get on it, it's kind of fun. Let's say maybe you're going down a hill and you don't want to be braking. You want to let the engine and transmission help you a little bit. That would be a good time to use it. Maybe you want to put it in a higher gear if you don't want to have as much wheel spin on a slippery surface. It could find a good purpose for you. All right, I have it in sport mode. We're at low speed. Let's see how it goes. Okay, so it's not too bad. It's relatively quick for what it is, but like I said, it can still be kind of fun to drive. Even when you're in eco mode, if you get on it and you really do have to accelerate, it'll give you the power that you need. The steering feel and the turning radius is pretty good. It's not too bad. This is a relatively long car. The steering feel is just perfect. It's about what I would like. I mean, there's literally no driving fatigue when you're behind the wheel here. The weight of the wheel is good. It feels nice, and you just feel planted to the road. If you really do want to get good MPGs, put it in eco mode, be light on the throttle, and try to watch when it says EV and it shows a little vehicle on there, because when it's in that, you're not using the gas motor. And at lower speeds, especially in your neighborhood or something, you can really milk that And on about a 4-mile trip, I got 55 miles per gallon when I was paying attention to it and trying without actually driving like super slow. So it's definitely able. I hope that I've answered everybody's questions. That's going to bring an end to this review. I've enjoyed my week with this Camry. I hope you enjoyed this review. Please leave your thoughts and your feedback down below. Would you go with the hybrid or the V6 or a 4-cylinder, and what trim level would you get? Let me know. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please give me a thumbs up. Leave your feedback down below. I want to know how I can get better, what you liked about the video, what you didn't like about the video. If you're new to my channel, I post videos every single week. Please subscribe down below to Prime Autotainment. Also, follow me on Instagram and Facebook at Prime Autotainment for previews of what vehicles I'm going to be driving, as well as some extras. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next week.